Hi guys! So I'm very happy to be back today. It feels like forever since I've done a video in English, and I am really happy to just sit down and talk to you, even though what I'm going to talk about today is not necessarily very positive, but it's been a subject on my mind for a while because it's kind of what I've been through for the past 3 years or so, and it's something I cannot really seem to come to a conclusion with. And as much as I feel like I know what I should be thinking, I know what I should be doing, it seems impossible to do those things because the feelings are very different. And I'm just hoping that this video will either provide you with some comfort if you feel like you're alone going through this, and if you feel isolated, maybe you can relate to this video. I also hope that maybe putting things into words and making them public and having you react to that and give me your opinions and your advice will help me be more mature about it and have a better outlook on things. And I'm also hoping that this will perhaps help some of you understand why I've been pretty negative online recently. Because I just want to say before I start this, I've been feeling really guilty as well about the things that I produce, the kind of content that I upload and how often I upload. You may have noticed that there's been a significant slowdown in how often I upload videos, and even on Instagram. And yeah, it's not just because I have better things to do, not at all. And even when I share things with you, I feel like very often it's negative, and it's oftentimes me complaining, and I hate that, and I think it must be really annoying for you, and I want to apologize for that, but that's because of the mindset that I'm in, and I will explain to you why I am in this mindset. So today we're going to talk about failures and failing, or what we consider failures and failing, because I also just want to say that, you know, if I'm being really mature and objective and smart about this, failure is a part of life, and for the most part it's only a failure if you let it be, and it's only as important as you let it be as well. But we all have moments in our lives or events in our lives that we cannot really get over or just really deal with properly because they hurt and because we wanted things to happen differently. And that's what's happened for me, for the past couple of years, or even a bit more, I'd say. And I'm someone who deals very badly with failure because it's not something I have experienced very frequently in my life. And as a student, for as long as I can remember, really, I've always been a really good student, very often the top of my class, except in math and sports. But yeah, I've always been a very good student, and in the subjects that I liked, aka languages and literature and philosophy, I was very frequently the top of my class without having to work and study that much. And I think a lot of people may think, oh my god, you're so lucky, that's such a good thing, and that's like a blessing. But I honestly think it's it's not that much of a blessing. It's more of a curse in disguise versus a blessing in disguise, because it really makes you unaware, I would say, of how it feels to work for something, to study for something, and to have things you really like and things you really wish to do, well, not work out in the end. Because everything I've wanted to do, really, I feel like it's worked. I loved literature. I wanted to have great marks and great results. I had great results. Even at uni, I felt like, the subjects that I worked on, the teachers always told me they were really interesting and different and innovative, and I always had really good comments on my writing style, things that really mattered to me. And I always failed at things that did not matter, like math or being organized. And I wish I could be better at those things. And now in retrospect, I think I would like to, be more like motivated to better myself at those things, but my mindset was, I'm not good at those things and I don't like them anyway, so who cares if I'm not good? Who cares about bettering at things you don't care about, you know? And then I had all those things that I loved. English, I loved learning English, and you know, yeah, I speak English fluently, so there was really no reason for me to just worry too much about things. And so things, for the most part, always came naturally to me until I left high school and went to live in Paris on my own and went to university. And then I really fell apart. I completely broke down, and it had nothing to do with uni, it had nothing to do with the work that I had to put in my studies. It didn't have anything to do with any of that. It had to do with mental health. And that's the first time that I realized that I could be held back by things that were not really in my control. And I felt absolutely devastated by that. I felt absolutely worthless, and it really impacted me in a way that I can't really put into words. When you are like the top of your class, when you've always been really good, when you've always loved studying, always loved learning new things, when you've always felt rather comfortable with the teacher and in even a classroom, even if you didn't feel that comfortable with other students, when you've always had your group of friends, that was also like a success in my life in a way. I had those friends since like primary school and even kindergarten for some of them. We hang out always, like it was just perfect. It seemed like the perfect thing. And I'd say my parents divorced. They were not married, but they separated, so that was really a hard thing to digest for me first. And then I went to uni and I went to Paris, and then my social anxiety and my generalized anxiety disorder became absolutely unmanageable, and I couldn't leave the house, I couldn't go to school, I couldn't phone anybody. I was just a mess. My life was miserable, and I felt like, oh my god, I am miserable. Not only is my life miserable, but I am a miserable human being that's completely worthless. And I lost any sense of self-worth because I realized that all of my value, like everything that I thought I was and that was valuable about me, was essentially like concentrated in study related stuff. It was a lot about my appearance when I was a bit younger, before I discovered feminism, and then it was really in my studies. And because mental health is not something you can really control, because it really hit me like without any notice or prior notice, I should say. It was such a shock, and I could not digest it very well at all. And it took me about 6 or 5 years to kind of get better. I went to therapy for 5 years. It was once a week at the beginning, and even that felt like not enough. And then things got better, went back to uni, went back to literature, loved it. It felt like I was reborn. It really saved me. I cannot, I'm not exaggerating. I'm choosing my words very wisely. Going back to uni and studying literature saved me. It really saved me. It brought colors back to my life. It made me feel alive again. It made me feel like myself again. There were times when I was in class and we were studying a book or studying a movement or studying anything literature related that was so interesting, so beautiful, so profound, so deep, so intense, that I sometimes felt like I wanted to cry because I just loved it so much, because I was like, well, literature is just amazing. It's my love. It's the love of my life, really. And I was really good. Like, I had really good results without even working that much. It was never like I felt like I had to put work into that. Of course, I had to kind of work, but writing my 2 dissertations in my first year and second year of master's was just fun. It was not a struggle at any point. I think I did it more, perhaps more quickly than most people, I'd say, and I had really good results, and I did not really prepare for the oral presentation either, and it went really well. And I'm not saying anything to brag, it's just the way it's been for me, and I think it's because those things that I'm really passionate about are things that my soul connects with, and I'm kind of like good at it naturally, but also because those are things I love so much. It doesn't feel like work that I'm putting in, and it's what I do on my free time. It's what I do when I'm just, you know, wanting to have fun or be distracted or learn new things or have a good time. So of course it's then easier. But I always had in the back of my mind though what had happened to me when I first got to uni with my mental health situation, and it was like a fear of mine. And slowly but surely I realized that anxiety had not gone anywhere. It was always in me, and it would probably, I think it's probably gonna be a part of me forever. And that was a disappointment too. It was a big failure moment. So the first failure thing for me was mental health related. The second thing that I'm still not over with, and I'm struggling to get like to, I cannot heal from that. Like, let's put it simply, it feels like I cannot heal at all. After my master's, I wanted to become a teacher, and in France the way it goes is that you have two competitive exams, one that's called agrégation, one that's called CAPES or CAFEP. The agrégation is really difficult, really time consuming, and the CAPES one is kind of easier. It's different. It really has nothing to do. Both are in literature and other subjects. If you get l'agrégation, you are paid more, you work less, and you have opportunities to get a PhD, to perhaps teach at uni or other schools that are, you know, higher than high school education. And if you get CAPES or CAFEP, you can teach in middle school and high school. And getting a PhD is not really a thing in France if you don't have l'agrégation, at least in literature. So the one thing that motivated me was the PhD. I didn't really care about working less and being paid more. Honestly, it never even crossed my mind. That was never a motivation of mine. What I really wanted to do was, well, to do a PhD. I wanted to do a PhD about vegetarianism in literature in the 19th century. I was passionate by that. There's been no research in France about that at all, even though there are so many texts about it, so many philosophers and writers, even though it's linked with social justice and feminism and religion, and it's just a wonderful subject that's so important and so relevant to what's happening today in regards to animal rights and vegetarianism, veganism, and the planet. So I went into studying for l'agrégation just because I wanted to be able to perhaps do a PhD. And I failed at l'agrégation. It's in two parts. You succeed at the first part, then you can go to the other one, but then at the end, if you fail, you fail. I succeeded at the first part and failed at the other one. And I hated studying for l'agrégation. I cannot even explain to you. I had suicidal thoughts basically while I was preparing for this exam. Yeah, not gonna lie, that's what happened. I was just in a terrible headspace. It was disastrous. And what really was disastrous was the fact that, of course, I had to work because, you know, I don't have money. Like, my parents are not wealthy, and that's normal life for a lot of people. So I was working full-time as a teacher. I was teaching 20 hours a day, plus the exams preparations, the exams grading and correcting, and the meetings we had with other teachers and everything. So basically I could not attend 80% of the classes for the preparation of this competitive exam, and therefore I failed. And also I didn't know anyone. Like, my parents do not even have like the exam you have at the end of high school in France. Nobody I know has been to university. I was the first one to do that. And all of that was a new world. I didn't really know how it worked. I didn't really know how to prepare and how to be strategic about the marks and the different parts of the exams. I didn't know that you had to prepare maybe 2 years in advance for like Latin and grammar and stylistics and all of those things. Basically, I went into it without knowing anything because of where I come from, because of my social background. And I'm not like bitter about where I come from. I'm bitter about the system that makes it seem like because it's an exam, a competitive exam, it's fair and everyone has their chance, when in fact they don't. And the fact that I didn't know anything about it, that I come from a social and cultural background where it's absolutely unknown, the fact that I had to work full-time as a teacher to be able to pay my rent, my food and everything, and also work as a creator, an online content creator, all of that is not really in my control either. As for social mental health, it's because of my social class, my economic class. And it's not only because of that I failed, but quite frankly, now that time has passed, now that I'm more objective, now that I'm more calm about it, I can honestly say, without trying to search for excuses or anything, I'm pretty sure I could have succeeded at this exam if I had had the chances that some people have, aka not working, aka being able to know, maybe you should prepare for that a year in advance, which seems perhaps obvious for some people, but really when you don't know anyone who's going to university, when you're the first one in your family to do so, you don't know. You don't know. You just really don't. And after that, I asked for a PhD, even though I didn't have l'agrégation, and I got, I got refused. And that was like, even though I had really no hope, I was not really expecting it to be positive, it also just completely broke me. Yeah. And so it feels like I've been in this circle of failures. Also other little things that happened after that. I submitted my podcast for there is a kind of company that's like producing podcasts in France that's well known, and they offer you help and technical tools and more budget and everything. I submitted my podcast. There was at the time no literary podcast in France. Even now there is not much. There aren't many, I should say, sorry. I have already a following, an audience. I got rejected as well. What else? I mean, many different little things that happened that made me feel like, okay, nothing seems to be working for me now. And it's really difficult to deal with. There are two things that are difficult to deal with. First of all, failure as itself. Failing is never really pleasant, I should say. Especially when you've not been used to failing before, and when no one has really taught you how to react to that. But it's even harder for me to accept those fails because realistically, and once again, it's not me trying to, put responsibility on anybody else's shoulders or whatever, but actions, but I feel like really the two big failures, which are, well, mental health and then my social background and condition and, cultural background as well, that led me really to, I think, have to work and not be aware of how things work and fail at l'agrégation. They were not in my control. I don't like the fact that I've had those two immense, gigantic failures that have broken me so much, and that they're not even really my responsibility. Like, looking back, there aren't that many things that I could do differently, that I could do better to avoid that. Like, what could I do so that I wouldn't have to work full time? What would I do so that I wouldn't have social anxiety? And it's like, then what am I supposed to do? Like, this whole bullshit about, failure is only like opening new doors and whatever. No, it's not opening new doors for me at the moment. What I wanted to do was a PhD. It was the dream of mine, and I cannot do it. There is no, new door. I am not teaching French and literature in middle school and high school, and it really is different from uni. It's really different from research, even though I love my students. It hurts. Mental health, it's still with me. I am not going to see in 2 weeks a psychiatrist because it's absolutely hell at the moment for me. What is the new door that's opened for me? And even my friendships, everything has crumbled down, or almost. And it hasn't opened new doors. So I'm trying right now to recollect all of that and make something out of it. I am trying right now to heal and fix myself, to be gentle but also firm, because I feel like I'm stagnating right now. I'm not doing anything and I want to move forward. I had filmed literary videos that I was so passionate about in Moscow, St. Petersburg, Budapest, in Vietnam, in many different countries, cities, about books that were written in those places or about those places, and sharing them with you and showing you the real places. And I wanted to edit them so well to make like a little documentary thing. My hardwire just, I don't know, exploded or whatever, and I lost all of the content. That's not recuperable. That's another failure. Sorry, I talked too much. The SD card was full. I think it's time to end this video, but I don't want it to end on just me exposing you all of my failures recently. I think it's important to do so because oftentimes online all we see is people succeeding, people having those amazing contracts, people having those amazing houses, those amazing trips, those amazing breakthrough and everything, and great for them. But I think for almost everybody, life is often composed of hardships, failures, disappointments, renouncements, and that's a hard thing to do. And I'm just at the beginning of the process, so I can't really offer you any real words of wisdom, but I'm hoping that just sharing that maybe made anybody feel less lonely, less isolated, maybe made anybody feel like they could relate and they were understood. And if you feel like you've been through a period of time when nothing works out for you, you're not alone. And I'm pretty sure it's a normal thing. And I'm pretty sure we also have to change our outlook on life. And that's something I'm struggling to do at the moment. But I'm really hoping I'm going to succeed at that, at least. It's the fact that it's, you know, like, how should I put it? It's okay to fail, but most importantly, I think maybe having some sort of like detachment and humility towards failing. Like, yes, it hurts, and yes, I would love to be able to do what I was dreaming about, but dreaming of, I think. But life does not owe me anything. Many people have it way harder than I do. I still have other things to look forward to. And yeah, I think it really comes back to life doesn't really owe me anything. And I'm having my hardships like anybody else. And mine are not even too much of a big deal. And there are the things I should be looking forward to. And there's, you know, it's good to be perseverant and determined and to go after things you really are passionate about. I have recontacted like the teacher I was supposed to work with on the PhD. I have started to look at other universities. I am rewriting some parts of the dissertation, and I'm thinking maybe I could get it published another way. Maybe I could even auto-publish it. It's in French, unfortunately, I'm sorry, but you know, I'm trying to make it work differently. But I think there's a fine line between being like not giving up as soon as something doesn't work out the way you wanted it to work out, and persisting in things that are not gonna work out and losing and wasting time. And I'm really trying to juggle and find where that fine line is, because I don't want to be wasting more time. I feel like I've wasted a lot of time those past 2-3 years, and I'm done with that, you know. And that's a struggle too. That's really difficult to know when you should stop, because you always think maybe just the moment after, maybe the next step is going to be good. And that's what we see online all of the time. Like, if you just had kept on going for a a little more, you would have seen this succeed. But sometimes it's not the truth. Sometimes it's just a waste of time and your energy, and you're losing other opportunities and other dreams. You're closing doors essentially for yourself. And yeah, I'm trying to really find a balance between not losing that, not abandoning and giving up on those dreams that I had that work on the vegetarianism. I really want to put it out there some way or another, but I also just want to keep on hoping for a PhD that might never happen, you know. And mental health is the same. I really tried to go to do this by myself and to, you know, be like, oh, that's fine, everyone has their struggles, and that's fine if I can't do this, if I can't do that. But I am at a point in my life where I'm realizing that there are too many things I can't do, so I'm deciding to go back to therapy. I realized that persevering in that way was not good for me. And coming back to the literary videos that I wanted to produce, I did not give up on that. I realized this was a technical issue, that was really bad luck, but that's life, that happens too. And this I am not giving up on. So at the end of the year, I'm going to a city and I'm hoping to make a new video about literature written in that city, about that city, and hopefully this time it's good, and hopefully I can start 2020 with this project. And I will never forget the fact that my Budapest, my St. Petersburg, my Moscow and my Vietnam videos were, you know, lost, but it should not prevent me from starting again. And I think it's really up to you, up to us, to know when it's good persevering and when it's good turning to something new. And celebrating also what we have, even though it's difficult sometimes. And the balance is a key. Yeah, it's key. It's important to voice your sadness, your disappointments, your regrets. It can be depressing. It really can be depressing. So acknowledge those feelings and don't let anybody tell you that you're whining. But at the same time, count your blessings too. And as I said, try to find a balance. That's really what I would say. And I think it's also important to criticize it on a more global level. Capitalism, yeah, capitalism is also, you know, of course it's a dream of mine, the PhD thing, but it's the whole capitalistic structure that makes me think that my value is in what I accomplish, in what I can produce, and not in just who I am. And even the idea of value is a capitalistic thing, opposed to values such as integrity and loyalty. And think the value of something or someone is a capitalistic view. So allow yourself to be human and to be caught in a system. Allow yourself to have those feelings, but also criticize the system that's responsible, partly, if not majorly, for how you feel. And I'm also blaming the system for, you know, having to work full time. As someone who wants to get a PhD, I'm also blaming the system for reducing the number of financed PhD in humanities. I'm also blaming the system for, you know, the stigmatization on mental health and many different things. And I'm sure you can apply that to your life as well. Balance, as I said, is the key, and that's what I'm trying to do, and that's where I'm gonna stop for this video. Please let me know what you think of that. Let me know if you could relate, if you want to share anything, if that's not too personal. I'm sure people are going to scroll through the comments, and I'm sure they're going to find comfort if anybody shares their own experiences. At least I hope that sharing mine brought you some comfort and maybe some strength and motivation and positivity. I also hope it makes you understand why I've been so negative online recently, and I'm apologizing for that as well, but it's my own battle, and maybe I shouldn't share it that much online, but it's hard, and I've shared my life online for 10 years now, and that's kind of a thing I do. I don't even think too much about it. That's how I deal with things, and you helped me a lot, guys, and I wanted to thank you for that so very much. It really is important for me, and you've helped me so much through a lot of things, including the things I talked about in this video. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being here. I hope you're amazingly well today, and I hope if not that tomorrow you'll be better. And I'm here rooting for you no matter what your goal is, if that's a good one, at least not hurting anybody, right? But yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye guys.